I agree with you.
We want to go to, of course, the politics of the week that has been, and hear some of the bias that we had from last week.
Sasa mambo ya siasa tumefikisha kikomo. Kazi ambayo sasa kwenda mbele tutafanya ni kazi ya kushughulikia mahitaji ya wananchi wa Kenya.
Watu wa Mlima Kenya, sisi tunasema ni kazi tu, ni kufanya kazi, lakini tuwajua safari ya kesho upangwa leo. 2022 si rais tuko naye hapa. Kuna mambo ingine.
Hii siasa si ya monarchy. Ukiamka asubuhi nenda kwa huyu, jioni kwa huyu, kesho kwa huyu. Hapana. Hata sisi maskini tutazaa kiongozi wetu maskini 2022 William Samuel Arap Ruto.
The days of dynasty are gone. We want to have leaders who are self-made. Si ni namna hiyo? Tutachagua mtu kwa sababu ni mtoto wa fulani ama ni ndugu ya fulani.
I will tell the Deputy President that votes are not in Kabarak. If his reason for going there was votes, the votes are with the wananchi. Whether he sees the president or not, whether he's denied entry or not, the votes are with the wananchi, and that is where you should focus.
Kenya now is being led by two gentlemen, His Excellency Moi-Odinga-Kenyatta and His Excellency Kenyatta. Any other person is their junior, is their deputy. Ni mtu mdogo sana. So the Deputy President is a small person. We don't want you to engage Raila in a contest.
All right, let's begin with Aaron Jeriot. Of course, listening to those comments of coming to the fore as well. What will be your response?
About what exactly? About what? Exactly. Because I'm wondering, you know.
Of course, there's the whole issue about 2022 politics, and the president saying that we should concentrate on the issue of development, but we have the foot soldiers really clamoring.
I think
the debate is still ratcheting up about 2022.
The president is right. The reason why the president is right, for example...
Deputy President.
No, the president. There is only one president in Kenya. Oh, okay. President Kenyatta. Oh, okay. He is right because the success of his deputy, which is a plan of Jubilee, that his deputy president will succeed him, is tied to the achievement of the legacy of President Kenyatta. You cannot separate the two. And therefore, when he speaks and says, our focus is to work for the people of Kenya, by and large, what he's saying is that we are preparing our report card for 2022, such that when, as Jubilee, we come back to the people of Kenya, we'll have something to show and say, please, give us the chance to continue serving. So what the likes of Atandi, I think these ones are still in a political puberty. First-time legislators, still trying to learn the ropes of politics. You cannot blame them, because the handshake, you know, and this is what I think we need to say about the handshake. There are two sides of the handshake. There is one, the Building Bridges initiative, which any right-thinking Kenyan must support, and I do support it 100% as a leader. The initiative to try and build a better Kenya, to stop the animosity. But then there's a flip side of the handshake, which is the politics, the political side of it, where we can clearly see that ODM, and Jakoye quit, he's no longer a member of ODM. You know, I would have asked him. ODM is trying to gain and squeeze political juice out of the handshake to try and build a platform for 2022. When it comes to that, we shall engage them, because when they came at a political level, we remain to be competitors.
Right.
At the handshake level, we are co-partners that are trying to build a better Kenya.
Thank you. Maybe also I should ask you, because last year when we were discussing Rift Valley politics and the Gideon factor as well, I think when you hear a few months ago, was it in March, you indicated that yes, there are some people who are frustrating the Deputy President from seeing the retired President Moi, right? And we had also this attempt by the Deputy President to try and see him, and of course he was frustrated. So who are these people who are frustrating the Deputy President? Because no, it seems to be that, to me, that you had actually the knowledge of this, and you know these culprits, and you know the people who are trying to create a ring fence around the retired president.
You know, that takes my count to about 5. About the profound things I've said on this show, and in 2 or 3 weeks, they have happened the exact way that I had predicted. You know, Debarl on that particular morning, and you tried gagging me, if it was not for Boni Halwale who came to my defense and said, please allow Senator Cheriot to speak his mind, you would not have known about what was happening. That, you know, the politics, it's a very simple, but in my opinion, stupid calculation to try and make the deputy president look bad. That, oh, we have an ailing statesman from the community, someone who, quote unquote, he inherited a political constituency from, yet he has never even gone to say a word of policy. So when that politics appeared to be gaining traction, of course, and with so much ease with it, he accepted to say, let me go and visit the good old man. He's a statesman, was our president, he's a leader from our community. But of course, given the politics around it, that there are people who have always tried to achieve that end of making the deputy president look bad, he would never have been allowed to. And it's not just him alone. Many other leaders, I told you on that particular morning, unless you pledge allegiance to Gideon Moi, you will never be able to cast your eye on it.
So
there's nothing.
Was there any appointment? Or
from what we have read is that surely you want to tell me a deputy president can get into a chopper head to someone's home without any prior arrangement? There was an appointment, but it was frustrated in the last minute because of the same intrigues that I was saying. There's a political side of the handshake, which we are going to deal with squarely and perpendicularly, because it clearly shows that part of the political side of the handshake include trying to build bridges. And you saw last weekend what happened in Samburu. Gideon Moi was accompanied by two gentlemen who continue to sell the candidature of Raila Odinga in 2022 in none other than Edwin Sifuna, the Secretary General of ODM, and I think the man who inherited Boni Halwale's political seat, Senator Cleophas Malala. And they went and spoke and said, Baba has clearly sent us, we are working with Gideon. That is a political side of it, which at a political level, we are ready to deal with it.
Right.
From where we sit, it is very clear in our mind as Team Jubilee that in 2022, we are facing Raila Odinga once again. That's so clear, it's so obvious.
All right, but other people and sources will say differently, because it seems also Raila Odinga will not be running for 2022, but is actually posturing Gideon Moi and Uhuru Kenyatta ticket, right?
No.
That the president.
Gideon is just a pawn that is being used.
That is according to you, but of course, this is the machination.
Can Raila Odinga come out publicly and deny?
Okay, let's hear from Boni Halwale. These are the sentiments that are being, flaunted about. Yeah, that in 2022 it will be a Uhuru ticket and Gideon ticket. So far, from your understanding, have you heard about these sentiments from your credible sources as well?
We can see it, of course.
You know, some people are born great. Others are made great, while others make themselves great. That debate you're seeing on TV, it tells me that the forces of nature are slowly starting to bring the politics of 2022 on a home stretch. It looks like we are now going to be making a decision based on whether we want to allow domination of the politics of this country for over 55 years by a few political families, or we want all Kenyans to be players. There are two types of politics, votes, that are very powerful in a general election. Jakoyo, that vote called the protest vote is very powerful. Then a vote called the sympathy vote is very powerful. What Raila, through his infamous handshake, is doing with Moi and Uhuru is that they are cultivating a protest vote against the dynasties. Wananchi will say, as they said in 2002, that yote yawezekana bila Moi. And they protested, and Kibaki won with over 69% of the votes. The sympathy vote, unfortunately, will go towards that candidate who comes from outside the dynasties. And the way Ruto is packaging himself, if Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Moses Wetangula do not up their game, then Ruto will become the recipient of the sympathy vote, and therefore combining protest vote with sympathy vote, he has a serious head start. That's what I'm reading from that clip there.
Yeah, from also since his re-election, that is President Uhuru Kenyatta in October, then it seems that also he has been mealy-mouthed about, him advocating for Deputy President William Ruto as, the next president come 2022. Why the silence so now? People are asking.
Because he owes Moi.
Let me say this.
Bonnie, 1 second. He owes Moi. That's why Uhuru cannot manage to talk. It is Moi who lifted him from where Uhuru knows where and brought him to the limelight of the nation. So if Moi has told him in the left ear and in the right ear that, please, I want you to support my son, he owes him. So he must remain mute. There's no other reason.
Jacob.
Well, I was in that church where the noises were being made.
Which one?
Where the Deputy President is talking, Chris Wamalwa.
Oh, okay.
I was there. It was in Kitale Showground.
When was that?
On Saturday. On Sunday.
Oh.
Where Kanini Kega is talking.
Have you joined Jubilee?
Kanini was with me in the same chopper, and when he got up, I think he was overwhelmed. Because I don't think the things he has said there are his views. From there, when I went with him to his constituency, to his home, to another church. The thing is, if you ask me, I know Bonnie is jilted, but I can tell you,
jilted by my wife?
There will be no 2022 without us sorting out 2017. It must be sorted out. I think what the focus of the president and the prime minister should be is changing the rules of the game. I personally, as Jacob Medio, have been a friend of William Ruto. I don't think it's presidential material. I think his focus, what he uses power for, will never be beneficial to our country. So all these people, I think something else is going to happen, and it will happen before Christmas in this country. You may want to make Ruto the president. I can tell you, presidents are voted for, especially when the rules of the game are changed. What I saw in Kitale, about 20, 30 MPs talking the way I used to hear Kamodo and Aringo talk during Kanu. We can't go that direction. We cannot be sycophantic about the people who want to lead us. We have just gone through an election. Not NASA, not Jubilee. Nobody was talking about corruption like the way we have been talking about this morning. So we can't. Presidents are not just individuals. They must put something to the table. And what I saw, I was there. The DP promised like 15 tarmac roads. I said, what is this guy doing? That is what we are trying to change as a people, and we must change it. I want to tell my good senator here that you don't have the votes. You don't have the votes. And let me also tell my colleague Bonnie, those protests will be against thieves. The protest votes, they will be against thieves. What I beg of the handshake, myself, is for us, let there be never again me going like my friend Ramatangi says, going to look for votes and needing money. I need to sell a record, and we can change that. This guy, Ramaphosa, has just become a president of South Africa in a boardroom. We need to change how we govern our people. We cannot be measured by how much you have stolen from the public.
All right, let's hear
son of the dynasty has spoken.
All right. Wamatangi, maybe also we need to ask Wamatangi this question, because also pundits have it that yes, Wamatangi could be a running mate to Deputy President William Ruto. Is that true?
Well, I mean,
you've had that notion before.
I mean,
is it up your collective sleeves as well?
If they say so, I would say they are judging me, and so be it. I actually saw a book when I was in the devolution conference. A young man came selling a book there, and then in the last chapter of that book, it's titled "The Running Mate Conundrum" or something like that. And then they have listed the possible running mates, and it is true. My name is there, and my photo, and then finally, by the way, Debarl,
Your Excellency.
by the way, Debarl, I want to assure you that I have serious potential and capacity and capability.
Yes.
Of not only being a deputy but also being a president. But when the time comes, but let me give my views on that. You know, how do I see roadmap 2022? And you know, one thing that I want to say dispassionately is that we either choose two things. Do we want to focus and speak about that 2022, or do we want to look at it to observe and comment about the side issues? Because on this journey, I can tell you, Debarl and our viewers this morning, now we are in 2018. We are talking about 2022, 4 years down from now. And you can already see the heat that is being generated. But fortunately, along the side shows, I would ask one question. You know, when I was last here and we were discussing about the Deputy President, and remember the Deputy President's career spans from 3 elections where he was elected in his own constituency. He became a minister. He ran together with Raila Odinga. He became almost a co-principal, I would say. From there, he has run to become deputy president. He managed, and then he's a deputy president second time. And you'd want to ask yourself, how has this man found himself at that position with that continuous success? Did he either rely on sympathy, on protest votes, or how did he find his way? One, if you are a good judge of men and their careers and their characters, you would know that that is not a man to take for granted. One, that's one thing, and it's a given. Because if you travel that road and you've been, you've reached to where he is, then you are a man to watch. Two, I say clearly, Debarl, he has not gotten there because anybody sympathized with him. And nobody protested against another person for him to get there. He has had to fight his way. And leave alone fighting his way, he has also had to work his way up. And if I was looking at 2022 with his eyes, and I hope that is how he's looking at it, I believe that's how he looks at it, he has got to fix his eyes and his focus squarely on a track record of ensuring that whatever has been said on the red booklets that we gave out in 2013 and again in 2017, as the manifesto and the roadmap of how and what we are going to do for the country is fulfilled to the last letter. Now, if he can be able to sell that record, and I want to remind my brother Jakoyo here, my good friend Senator Halwale, just before the handshake and before the other, you know, the closing in of ranks, when we went to the election in 2017, we did a lot of battle, even here. And part of that battle, what then was the storyline of NASA was that Jubilee have not delivered, they have done this, but what saved Jubilee's day was the fact that people could see on ground. Once you say, talk about SGR, they could see the SGR here in Syokimau. You talk about this, you see it. You talk about this, you see it. And that is how Jubilee won. Now, for the Deputy President to win his election in 2022, he must keep his focus squarely on delivery. And one thing I want to declare this morning, Debarl, and politicians had better be alive to this, the ground has shifted. Kenyans have moved. Things have changed. The politics of today, and look at, for example, how many young people do you have of Cheruyot's age in parliament now, across the board, from every region?
And that's the problem. That's where the problem is.
Just a minute, my friend. You see, the thinking of Kenyans, the reasons why Kenyans vote
and how you attract them, the things you do has completely changed. And that is why you find, and it is not only in Kenya, it is global. That is why Macron is 32 years and president of France.
It's 42.
42. You know, what's happening across the country, across the globe, is that perception and understanding and reasons for people to vote. The politics have changed. The way you see technology has also advanced. And so, the politics that we used to do a long time ago of either heckling, of sycophancy, of talking this, and trying to bulldoze people, of mulolongo, is over. The record that the deputy president has used to arrive to where he is what he needs to use, all the way to where he will be. You remember, there was a time he was voted, at that time, the best minister when he was the minister for agriculture. That record is there. That's what he needs to use.
And the maize scandal?
So, just a minute. You know, if for anyone to expect, Debarl, my last point is this, for anyone to expect that the contest of 2022 is going to be either a 1 or 2 man show will be wrong. There will be more than probably 10 to 15 candidates on that ballot paper. So when you're comparing, ask yourself, who would be this other than the 2? Who will be the other 8 or the other 13? What would be the impact? And that's what I'm saying. You know, it would be a shot in the wrong direction. It would be a complete detour if one opted to be looking at the small game that is being played down here by the sides. The bigger picture is ahead there.
Thank you.
The rest are just small sideshows.
All right, let's get to closing remarks from Boni Halwale responding to what Wamatangi is saying very briefly. And also prepare your headline thoughts of the rest of the panelists.
I am impressed that Wamatangi has not done what Jakoyo has done. Wamatangi is the senator of the county from which the Kenya's strongest, most powerful political dynasty comes from, and you've come out very well. I think I must congratulate you for that. As for Jakoyo Mitio, I want to ask Kenyans to completely ignore his efforts to defend the dynasties. The reason is
he's part of it. He cannot.
The reason is why they should ignore is that Jakoyo is actually a nephew of Jaramogi. His mother and his mother is the sister of Jaramogi's wife. So he comes from the dynasty. We should not listen to him. But Jakoyo, let me encourage you.
But the dynasty has been fighting him as well.
He ran out of fortune.
Jakoyo, let me encourage you. My community has a saying that when your brother's wife gives birth, it is very nice. But it is better when your own wife gives birth. So please don't allow the celebration for the children being born in your mother's sister's house be the only reason why you think you can give birth to a child. Thank you very much.
Your closing remarks.
You know, I think Boni Halwale has summed it so clearly. What I wanted to tell Jakoyo. You know, Jakoyo is a serial hater of the deputy president for reasons that I have never understood. Every time you get to discuss with him, either here on the show or even outside the show, half the things that he said are completely untrue and not founded by any fact. But I was still struggling to understand why. But Boni Halwale has put it in context that when you listen to Jakoyo, you're listening to the dynasties. So please have that clear in your mind. There's no day dynasties will support hustlers. You know, when they see you, they want you to work for them, and in the evening, you retreat back to a certain village somewhere.
Kuna njia mbili za kutetea. Unaweza kaa hapo. Hapo unaweza cross over to the other side and agree with Kidaboni Halwale.
First of all,
very briefly.
First of all, Senator Cheriot, you know, what Boni is not saying is that it is not 48 hours since Musalia did about turn and Weta did about turn.
They have not.
The logic is, let me just tell you, this country needs change. We promised Kenyans that we'll work on the 20%. And if nothing else, I don't think Raila must be president of Kenya. but I think he holds the key to change, proper change in our country. But being a hustler, what I saw, I told you I was in that public rally at the Kitale Showground. Being a hustler does not mean you have to be a thief. Being a hustler doesn't mean you have to grab forest or school land. Being a hustler means getting up every morning and going to work and working for the betterment of our country, not for the betterment of your stomach. I can tell you, as long as we imagine that somebody is telling you he is a chicken seller, then he is good enough. We don't adopt poverty. We want to be rich. We want to have income which is hard-earned, which is legal, which is not pilferage of public funds. That is all I'm saying. And I have my vote. And it is only one vote.
Dynasty speaking.
All right. Okay, let's hear from Moi-Odinga.
Quickly, Debarl, you know, if you wanted to get people to vote for you very quickly and you know, in a big way, tie your reasons for campaigning to an emotion. And if you emotionalize, for example, that's why you hear about the sympathy vote and the protest vote, tie it to an emotion, whatever emotion. That's why you saw even the way we voted in 2013, especially, yes, for good people, but of course with the emotion of the ICC and so on. Now, if you tie anything to an emotion, it will work. But how long can you sustain it? That is a big question. And if we're in 2013 and we think or would plan at all, either as Jubilee, either Ruto as a candidate, or any other candidate, that we are going to be tying it on that, then you would be asking yourself that serious question, can you sustain it to the end? So what I'll be saying is that precisely the way I worded my earlier statement, that the focus, the idea should be so that the emotion is not debunked or neutralized between them, build serious reasons and bridges, ensure that you have built milestones that cannot be uprooted by anyone, of the track that you have walked by making sure that your record can be seen in delivery of service.
Thank you.
That's the only thing. And I believe that's what the DP will be doing, and any other candidate who want to compete.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. We have